in its supply chain. Now it's asking suppliers for more transparency with public reports on both issues every year. Walmart also acknowledged support for the 5 freedoms of animal welfare, a list of animal rights recognized by the United Nations, which preclude the use of gestation crates in pork production. Walmart did not set any deadlines for implementing its requests, but its move was received positively by both animal welfare groups and farm groups. President-elect of the National Pork Producers Council, John Weber, says it's possible Walmart may later require suppliers to comply with its requests to remain part of its supply chain.
I would fully expect that. I think that's been a trend that they could ask for more. We want to continue to be a part of that conversation as we move down the road. I think we've established that relationship with them, that the pork industry in particular can be involved in some of those decisions, along with FDA, which when we talk about antibiotics, we're going to involve FDA in that. I think it's important that they recognize our programs, and they very much so do.
Corn planting continues at a rapid pace, with planting expected to conclude in Monday's USDA report. Analyst Mike Seary with Seary Futures in Plainfield, Illinois, expects the downward trend to continue.
I still think lower prices are ahead. We just have excellent weather. I'm talking to you from the state of Illinois. We're going to be 85 degrees. It's pure sunshine. We've had plenty of moisture. There's just not a lot of bullish news involved in corn. Plus, the U.S. dollar is up 400 points in the last week and a half. That's also pressuring. I still think soybeans are going much, much lower. However, we're only 61% planted, so you can't collapse in price when 40% of the crop's not even in the ground. However, we have great weather. I would suspect we're going to be at 80-85% come Monday. Most of the commodities I'm pretty bearish on. Cattle's making new highs. Feeder cattle up 300. They're going higher. Feeder cattle and cattle with tight supplies, with corn prices, this is a bull market, and I just think they're going higher. Well, there's 2 stories in the hogs. There's a huge difference between the June price is 85 and the December is at 70. So that's a huge, huge spread between those 2 numbers. I think people are just getting caught on the hogs in the front months, and that's what's causing it to go higher. But I'm not bullish the hog sector.
On Wednesday, the Environmental Protection Agency released its final rule, clarifying its jurisdiction over waters of the United States under the Clean Water Act. The final document comes more than a year after the controversial proposed rule was released last April. And this new final rule takes more than 1 million public comments into account. Farmer concerns on the final rule center on regulation of ditches. American Farm Bureau launched a social media campaign against EPA with the slogan, "Ditch the Rule." EPA responded with its own campaign branded Ditch the Myth. In a conference call Wednesday, EPA Administrator McCarthy stated explicitly that ditches with intermittent or transitory flow that aren't relocated tributaries, weren't excavated in a tributary, or that don't drain wetlands are exempt from EPA's jurisdiction.
So in other words, if you used to be a stream and now you're only a ditch, if you still look and act like a stream, you're a stream. If you never were one, if all you're doing is changing a drainage pattern on a farm or ensuring that your land is not increasing in terms of erosion, that is perfectly okay.
Now, questions do linger on increased regulation of other farming activities like applying fertilizer. Farm groups expect more answers after analyzing the final rule's 300 or so pages. We put stories up daily at WHOTV.com. You can click News, then Agribusiness.